Probably one of the most common questions that I get asked is about weight gain and hot flashes. Those are probably neck and neck. And of course, people ask about hormone replacement therapy, which I am not against. There are some women who are really, really having some severe symptoms. I mean, I'm talking about sweating in the middle of the night and having to get up and take a shower. And so for those women and the right patient, taking hormones by mouth or patch or however is going to be very, very helpful to relieve their symptoms, because people don't want to be on medications. They don't want to be on hormones, and they're looking for an alternative. But what I clearly heard from my patients is,
welcome to Office Visits with Dr. V, your personal guide to wellness. Here's your host, the expert in all things menopause, periods, and pre-pregnancy health, Dr. V.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Benita Varnado. I am a board-certified OBGYN, about 20 years of experience, and I am a board-certified lifestyle medicine physician. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me, and I am excited to reveal to all of you where we're going next. I started this podcast November of 2020 during the pandemic. Part of the reason I like to talk a lot. And so in the healthcare system, you didn't have a lot of time to talk with your patients. I was like, but they need education. I need to tell women about what's going on with their bodies so they don't have to come see me. So this podcast was really started as an extension of the office visit that they would have if they came into the office. That's how we got Office Visits with Dr. V. So it was really from a place of wanting to help and wanting to educate. And 3 years later, this has been an amazing ride, and it has grown to be something very powerful that has impacted a lot of you. And I just thank you all for following and for continuing to encourage me. I really, really appreciate it. We are going into a new season because it's time. The first season, like I said, when I started out, it was just to educate about OBGYN topics. Lifestyle medicine, which is a specialty of medicine that uses your lifestyle to prevent, treat, and manage disease. So what does that look like? If you have diabetes, you could exercise and watch your diet and not have to be on a medication called metformin. It's more effective than a pill. So it's things like that. So the season 2 was more about lifestyle medicine, and how important it really is to our health. So now season 3 is bringing the two together. I am a lifestyle gynecologist. And what does that mean? We're going to learn about conditions that affect women, and we are going to understand what we can do without the medication necessarily, what we can do to help ourselves. There's a phrase called a pill for every ill, and we're waiting on the pill. But there are really things that you could do starting today that you would help yourself. And that's the new journey. So I will tell you, this is going to be a transformative process for all of us. My goal is to have you all participate. This is going to be a community of women who are trying to feel better, trying to do better, and live their best lives. And I want to be at the head of the pack, organizing us and getting us fired up to take control of our lives. As an OBGYN, y'all, I will just tell you, I get asked a lot of questions. As soon as people find out I'm an OBGYN, they tell all their business. I'm serious, like vaginal discharges and pregnancy and all of these things, which I love it. I love the intimacy of my field. So I would never shy away from it. But in the last few years, I will tell you, okay, I'm 49, just turned 49. Menopause has probably been the most common thing that I've been asked about. Now, I'm around women of my age, and I'll just say we don't know nothing. Why don't we know anything? Because it feels like it's been like taboo, or like nobody just talks about it. And so, what I'm hearing from you all is that nobody talks about these things, and you feel like your body is going completely crazy, and nobody is helping you through this transition. I've done several speaking engagements, and I've just thrown out a few little nuggets, and that has been enough to change people's perspective and change their outlook. I want to bring hope, joy, and sunshine. And one way that I'm going to do that is teaching you what you can do to empower yourself and believe that you play a role in this menopausal transition. I will tell you another story about why I'm headed in this direction. And we might just stay at menopause for a season, who knows? And there'll be other things that I would love to tackle, but this is number one. I recently went to a conference. I went to a lifestyle medicine conference. I was talking with about 3 or 4 OBGYNs, and we were all perimenopausal. Stick to listening to the episodes. You'll learn about perimenopause. But we were all perimenopausal and just talking about our symptoms and what we had heard from our patients that we thought was crazy before we started going through perimenopause. And now we understand. One other thing that we also understand is that we were not taught. We were not taught some of the nuances of how to help women transition through menopause. We were not. And so I am fully convinced that if you have OBGYNs who are saying that they're having trouble, I know the general public, y'all are having trouble. And not everybody's having trouble. And that's why we're going to have a community and we can learn from each other. And so I'm looking forward to answering your questions. So my promise to you is that we're going to learn about this transition, about what is happening to our bodies. And we're going to learn some ways, some new, I don't even want to say innovative, but it's innovative to us because we in this society don't live this way. But we're going to take on some new approaches on how to beat this thing, how to go through this with grace and not be stressed out. And the last thing is that you'll be doing it with me, Dr. V, your trusted lifestyle gynecologist. Again, I've had over 20 years of experience. I've enjoyed what I do, but I also know women and I also know where the needs are. And I'm ready to fill that void, give you a place to share your feelings, ask your questions, and just help your fellow sister. So we're going to dive into some questions. And then these are questions that, briefly we'll be answering throughout the season, but there are some things that I get asked. Probably one of the most common questions that I get asked is about weight gain and hot flashes. Those are probably neck and neck. And of course, people ask about hormone replacement therapy, which I am not against. I'm not against it. There are some women who are really, really having some severe symptoms. I mean, I'm talking about sweating in the middle of the night and having to get up and take a shower. And so for those women in the right patient, taking hormones by mouth or patch or however is going to be very, very helpful to relieve their symptoms. But also, people don't want to go on hormones. This is also why this is a very unique time for me to transition, because people don't want to be on medications. They don't want to be on hormones, and they're looking for an alternative. I will tell you, I have learned from my patients. I didn't learn this from residency, from my OBGYN residency. Nothing against my OBGYN residency, but we're getting better, but we're not there yet. But what I clearly heard from my patients is when they ate sugar, their hot flashes got worse. I heard that over and over again. So what have I learned? Back off on the sugar. And what do I tell my other patients? Back off on the sugar. And what did they come back and tell me? Dr. V, that helped. I've always been doing this. I've always had a community, but y'all just didn't know that y'all were talking to each other because I was the go-between. So thank you, ladies. Another thing that I've heard is dairy. Now, everybody's story is different, but I've had a woman who hers were really bad, which honestly, how she described her symptoms, I would have thought she probably would have needed hormone replacement therapy. But do you know what she did? She stopped the dairy. And she said within 2 days, her hot flashes had significantly reduced. Now, this is what she's telling me. And so looking up in the literature and learning how our bodies works, I have found some truth to that. And there's some science and evidence to support that. And we'll get in it. We can't do all of this in the intro episode, but throughout the season, we're going to talk about all of the symptoms and all of the things that you can do, not just hormone replacement therapy, but what things you can do day to day. What I observed and what I noticed, my patients who walked consistently, like they were walking all the time, like every morning I go for a 30-minute walk, or, I get up and I work out. Those women were like, no, I don't really have hot flashes. Yeah, I don't really have, I think I'm doing, sometimes I get hot, but it's not too bad. Hands down. I was like, yeah, there's something to this. And I'm really, really happy to be in the position to now transition from full-time private practice to reaching you all where you are on social media and get you the information that you need to make your life better. So what's in store for season 3? We're going to get down to the nitty-gritty. I'm going to tell you how your body is working and why it's acting the way that it is acting, and that you're not crazy. I will validate your feelings about what is going on. There are, some people say, over 35 symptoms associated with menopause. Some even say 40. Now, let me just tell you from my personal experience. That's why it's going to be a good season. I'm in it with y'all, and we're going to go hand in hand. One thing that I noticed, I ran a half marathon 2 years ago, and I really started training in January at the beginning of the year. And the half marathon was in December, and I felt great. I looked good, but I noticed my scale had not changed. I'm talking about in the year. But, hey, you gain muscle mass. It's okay. It offsets the weight. Not too upset about the scale, but my belly, I've always had a little bit of a belly, but y'all, that thing didn't budge. And so I said, we have got to figure this out. And so there's some things that I have done and noticed that, I can lose this weight, and I can not only lose the weight and get stronger and have more energy, but be healthier. There are some changes that are happening in your body right now that are potentially leading to other medical conditions. Example, you got more fat around your organs on the inside. That increases your risk for heart attacks and stroke, cardiovascular problems. Your bones are getting softer. Estrogen helps build up your bones. Your muscle mass is decreasing. That affects your joints, and it affects your metabolism. So these are all the things I've learned. And it was a slow process, but I lost 15 pounds and it has stayed off. Now, there are other things that I've incorporated into my life. And for those of you who used to be my patients, I kind of walked away from the day-to-day grind of the life of a full-time OBGYN. And that has made a lot of difference too. So I am excited. That's just a little sneak peek on what you will see. And I am creating some opportunities for us to learn more, for us to come together in community, like community, like talking to each other, seeing each other, supporting each other. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait for you to participate and for you to give me your questions, and I can give you the correct answers. And this is reliable information. It's going to be reliable. It's going to be evidence-based. It's not from left field, okay? And it's not just based on Dr. V's personal experience. So I look forward to this new journey that we're going on together. And you know what, y'all? Don't keep this to yourself. Tell other people. Tell other people about what I'm doing here, and spread the word, because again, nobody's talking about it. And that's going to change because we are. So go ahead and subscribe and share this episode again with your friends and family. And guys, you are welcome too. Kids, you're welcome too, because you might be thinking, what is going on with my mama, my wife, my friends? Everybody is welcome to learn. All right, officially, I'll see you next time on Office Visits with Dr. V.
You've been listening to Office Visits with Dr. V. For more insights and health empowerment, subscribe to our podcast. Here's to your health, body, mind, and spirit.